Your inner child feels unimportant, unseen, and unworthy. Hey guys, welcome back. It's Missy, and today we're going to talk about how to heal from childhood emotional neglect. Last week we talked about the effects of childhood emotional neglect, and I said this week we were going to be touching on how to heal from it. So if you didn't watch last week's video, I highly recommend you check it out. We talk about what childhood emotional neglect is and how it affects you. So generally, childhood emotional neglect is when your parents didn't mirror your emotions, completely neglect your emotions, or even shamed you for your emotions. And this teaches you to disconnect from yourself over time to survive. It's very unfortunate that happens. However, that doesn't have to define your future, and you can heal from it. First thing is to understand what emotional neglect is, recognize the signs, which we had talked about previously in the other video. Emotional neglect is different than dealing with other types of abuse because it's not about what was done, it was what was not done. It was about what was missing. So not only do you want to understand emotional neglect, you also want to acknowledge that you were emotionally neglected. And because, like I said in the previous video, it can be hard to detect because a lot of us are like, oh, my physical needs were met, so I'm okay. But it's more than just your physical needs needing to be met in childhood. You also have emotional needs that need to be met in childhood. The next is you need to start to get in tune with your emotions and your intuition. This is really important, and this can be one of the hardest parts because when you suppress something for so long, it's hard to determine what is this emotion, what word do I put to this emotion. So I actually have a whole book on emotional regulation, which I'll leave right here. I have a wheel of emotions. I talk how to identify your emotions, the purpose of emotions. I highly recommend you check it out. I also talk about how to soothe your emotions. This workbook is also a way to learn how to emotionally regulate. There's 200 days worth of the same kind of journal entry of you being able to practice the practices that's talked about in the beginning of the book. But overall, you want to, when you have a feeling, sit with it and say, okay, what does this feel like? Okay, I know anger feels like a fiery sensation. I feel maybe like my stomach may feel hardened, or my fists are like, I feel like an adrenaline rush. I want to fight somebody. That you put a name to that emotion. This is anger. I'm feeling anger. Identify where you feel it in your body and say, okay, when I feel this emotion, when I feel this sensation, this is the emotion I'm feeling. And then you want to ask yourself, what is this emotion trying to tell me? Like I said, all our emotions are here for a purpose. So you want to identify, okay, I'm feeling this emotion because I was being mistreated. I'm feeling this emotion because I feel like things are unfair in my life right now. So identify the emotion, what you're feeling. And once you start to identify your emotions and why you're feeling the emotions you're feeling, then it's much easier to give yourself your needs, and you're connecting with yourself. Our emotions are here to tell us what is missing, or what we need, or what satisfies us. So you want to get in tune with that. And the minute you start to get in tune with that, you start to become more your authentic self. You start to give yourself your needs. Next, you want to validate every emotion you have. So you identify it, then you want to validate it. In your upbringing, you were taught to dismiss your emotions. You were taught, oh, these are wrong, or these are wrong to have. I cannot trust them. But your feelings are the thing that guide you in life. So you want to now reverse it. So you didn't get validated. Now you want to validate every emotion. You want to tell yourself every time you have an emotion, no matter what, no matter if you think it's silly to have that emotion, no matter if you hate this emotion, it doesn't matter what you're feeling to that emotion, say, I'm feeling this emotion and it's okay for me to feel this emotion. Every emotion is completely valid to have. It's how you react to the emotion that really matters. But remind yourself that your emotions are trying to help you. They are not here to hurt you like you were taught. You want to do the opposite of what you were taught in childhood. This is going to be really uncomfortable at first, and it's going to feel weird, but the more you do it, the more comfortable you will get with your new belief system. The benefits of doing this is that it calms down your amygdala, which is the thing that sends out threats, which is the part of your brain rather that sends out threats messages to the rest of your body, to your nervous system. And it activates the prefrontal cortex, which is in charge of that emotional regulation, emotional control. So it makes you feel safe enough to experience the emotion. Sometimes when we have emotion, it may feel unsafe and you may feel threatened, but if you soothe yourself and you calm yourself that, hey, this is okay to have this emotion, you won't feel as threatened. this naturally will become your new norm the more you practice it and the more you do it. The next is to rebuild trust and connection. One of the parts of you rebuilding trust and connection is through yourself. By you trusting in your emotions and by you validating your emotions, you are learning to trust in yourself and your emotions and also your intuition. You'll get this inkling about something and you'll listen to it by basically giving into that inner voice. Now, when it comes to emotional trust and connection, when you were emotionally neglected, it destroys your oxytocin. Your oxytocin is the bonding chemical. It's responsible for bonding and safety. So healing means learning to connect again. And so you want to tell yourself things like, I've got me now, I can trust in myself. I'm here for my own feelings. I'm here to be there for me. I love me. Once you start opening up to yourself and admitting your feelings, you then can start to take risks and open up to other people. This is where your intuition comes into play. See someone that you may feel safe around and start to emotionally open up. Every positive exchange wires your brain to see, oh, this is safe and I can do this and it's not as bad as I thought it would be. Shame is when you turn inwards and you run away. And so to get rid of shame of emotions is to admit them and express them. And not to just anybody. Not everyone is deserving to know your innermost private feelings. But it's more so to people that you notice, like, maybe I want to try and take a risk on this person. And then you can see if they don't, you know, take it well, or they are not the person you thought, then that's okay. You don't further, you take a little bit of risk. You don't share a big thing, you share maybe a little bit of a thing and you see how it goes. And then you continue to do that with other people. And this teaches you how to invest in yourself and invest in other people. Next, practice self-compassion. Most people who were emotionally neglected are really hard on themselves. And that's because they didn't have parents that were soothing and nurturing and loving to them towards their mistakes and their failures. So when you have no compassion, your inner critic takes over. You think, oh, I'm not good enough, especially when your parent doesn't give you the things that you need. You think, I'm not worthy, I'm unlovable. Self-compassion activates the same circuits that are activated when someone gives you comfort. When you say things like, and acknowledge and say, this is hard and it's okay, your brain releases oxytocin and serotonin. This makes you feel calm and safe. So whenever you've made a mistake, or you feel emotional, or you feel like a failure, tell yourself, it's okay, I'm doing the best I can, or this is hard and I acknowledge it's hard, but it's okay. And that's how healing accelerates, not through perfection, but through kindness and loving words and sensations that you never receive. That also goes into the next one, which is reparent your inner child. I talk about this so often. When you didn't have the parent that you needed, it's so important not only to acknowledge that and feel your emotions towards that and grieve and feel sad and acknowledge and identify, but it's also important that you're like, okay, I can't go back and correct the mistakes of my parents. I now need to be the parent for myself that I never was. So when on a regular basis, like, visualize little you and comfort you and love on you and say things like, I'm so proud of you, I love you, I'm so glad you're here, you're doing a great job. Validate yourself the way that you never were validated. Love yourself the way that you never were loved. Talk to yourself the way you never were talked to and that you wish that you were talked to. Your inner child feels unimportant, unseen, and unworthy. So speak to yourself with gentleness instead of criticism. You can even like talk to them the way that you would talk to somebody else that's having a hard time. Allow yourself to rest when you're overwhelmed and you feel like you need rest. Comfort yourself to wish that someone had comforted you, or even the way you comfort others. Tell little you, I see you and I love you. I see you and you are so worthy and deserving of love, and I'm gonna give you that love. This forms neural pathways in your brain for you to create love, safety, and nurturing. And it gives you a sense of belonging. It gives your inner child the things that you never needed. It gives your inner child the things that you never received, and it starts to heal that part of you rather than you feeling that emptiness and that hole inside your heart that we talked about last week. The next is try to connect yourself with your body. And what I mean is that when you deal with emotional neglect, and we had talked about that your nervous system is on high alert, your cortisol is running throughout your body, this can create illnesses. It can create a nervous system dysregulation. It creates emotional dysregulation. So the way to connect with your body is by doing deep breathing, by holding onto your heart and feeling warmness. And humming is another way to regulate your body. Doing dances is another way to regulate your body. Grounding work, like using your senses, helps you connect with your body. This creates safety inside your body, and something that I talk about in my Anxiety at the Root. So if you struggle with anxiety, if your nervous system feels dysregulated, I highly recommend you check it out. We connect the mind and the body together so you no longer struggle with anxiety, but I talk more about these somatic type practices. This heals your nervous system, your mind, and your body. And the last thing is give yourself what you missed. Give yourself experiences, give yourself opportunities. Think about things that you wish you had as a child and give yourself those things. So you want to play with Legos with somebody and you never got to experience that, go do that. You want to fulfill the needs that were never met. Identify the things that were lacking in your life and then fulfill those needs now. Fulfill your lack of safety, fulfill your lack of feeling like you had boundaries, fulfill the lack of love you didn't receive. And you can do this through self-talk, beliefs, and the way you show up for yourself. So you want to become the person that you want to be. You want to imagine yourself as the person you want to be. You act as if you already are the person you want to be, and you already have the things that you want to be. This is kind of how manifestation works. So if you become this thing, then your brain starts to seek in real world time the things that you're looking for, and then it naturally matches up to like the 3D and how you were trying to imagine how it would feel. And just know you are not too damaged to heal. If there's a will, there's a way. There's always a way to change your life and for you to get the things that you desire in life. You just have to believe and apply. So what do you guys think? Leave it all in the comments below, and please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share with someone you think may need it. Until next time, thanks for watching. Bye guys. So not only, okay.